ध्यान मुक्ति पथ दिखाए, साचा रूप साचा रंग मन में दिखाए, प्रकाशित हृदय में ईश्वर। श्वास तुझ में ही समाए, साचा रूप साचा रंग मन में दिखाए, प्रकाशित हृदय में ईश्वर। सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति Together we'll chant Bhagavad Gita, chapter 12, verses 1 to 10.
अथ द्वादशोऽध्यायः। अर्जुन उवाच एवं सततयुक्ताये भक्तास्त्वां पर्युपासते ये चाप्यक्षरमव्यक्तम् तेषां के योगवित्तमाः। श्रीभगवानुवाच मय्यावेश्य मनो ये मां नित्ययुक्ता उपासते श्रद्धया परयोपेताः ते मे युक्ततमा मताः। ये त्वक्षरमनिर्देश्यम् अव्यक्तं पर्युपासते सर्वत्र गमचिन्त्यं च कूटस्थमचलं ध्रुवम् सन्नियम्येन्द्रियग्रामं सर्वत्र समबुद्धयः ते प्राप्नुवन्ति मामेव सर्वभूतहिते रताः। क्लेशोऽधिकतरस्तेषाम् अव्यक्तासक्तचेतसाम् अव्यक्ता हि गतिर्दुःखम् देहवद्भिरवाप्यते। ये तु सर्वाणि कर्माणि मयि सन्न्यस्य मत्पराः अनन्येनैव योगेन मां ध्यायन्तुपाश्रयन्तः ध्यायन्त उपासते तेषामहं समुद्धर्ता मृत्युसंसारसागरात् भवामि न चिरात् पार्थ मय्यावेशितचेतसाम् मय्येव मन आधत्स्व मयि बुद्धिं निवेशय निवसिष्यसि मय्येव अत ऊर्ध्वं न संशयः अथ चित्तं समाधातुं न शक्नोषि मयि स्थिरम् अभ्यासयोगेन ततः मामिच्छाप्तुं धनञ्जय अभ्यासेऽप्यसमर्थोऽसि मत्कर्म परमो भव मदर्थमपि कर्माणि कुर्वन् सिद्धिमवाप्स्यसि
Chapter 12, excuse me, chapter 12 begins with chapter 12 begins with Arjuna's question, shall I worship you, you in this sense, meaning Krishna, the form that he has seen, or shall I worship the Avyaktam? What type of worship is better? The worship of the form or the worship of the formless? In technical terms, his question is those who are worshipping you versus those who are worshipping the formless. Who is better at yoga? Yoga Vittamaha, whereas very, very good at yoga. Who is doing a better job? So his question is, in technical terms, is form or formless. The word me over here, the word you over here represents the form. That's Krishna himself, versus the formless called Brahman. Now, we already studied how any form of worship has to be with a form. Because the only way you can worship is by taking something from the world as a representation, as a symbolization of that ultimate reality. So every worship is a worship of form. However, people draw this distinction between a particular type of form and the concept of Brahman. This distinction is drawn. Please remember the word Brahman itself is
form worship.
Transcendental.
Is a symbol.
Symbol.
Therefore, it's a form. You call it anything, it's always a symbol. So, but where they draw the line is at the like a physical form, like using any of the physical symbols. So that's where they usually draw the form. Some people draw the line at just a human form, or a form of a particular thing. That is why Moses, he told them to break that idol. They put up an idol of some sheep or something. Some idol they put. Remember, Elsie, what idol did they make? Do you remember?
The bull.
Bull, okay. Well, break down this form. That God of yours is got no, is not a bull, is basically he was trying to take them towards a more subtler way of having a form.
That's one
So-
question, madam.
Yes, go ahead.
Madam, the first class, verse 1, you had defined unmanifest is that which cannot be perceived by the gross body, the senses, bracket, cannot be felt by the mind, cannot be thought of by the intellect. Then you define the 5 elements. The subtlest being space, and even the Om is a way of manifest only. It's not an unmanifest. Now we are talking of even Brahman being, because we can't give a name to God, we call it God. But we don't really have the equipment, three equipments that we have, or two equipments that we have, three equipments that we have. We cannot conceive Brahman, right, sir? That's why in the 11th chapter, towards the end, to show his Brahma, his Vishwaswarupa, he had to give divine eyesight to Arjuna. It's only then that he could see, because with the normal eyesight, you cannot see Vishwarupa. Then he said, come down, I am scared and all that, whatever. So basically, we don't have the equipment to see the unmanifest. Would I be right?
We don't have the equipment. It is that the truth is not an objective form. It is a subjective experience.
Oh, experience. Okay.
It is not. It's not objective. So it's not like you see something out there.
Oh, no, but basically, we have not reached that level. So that's why I'm saying we are not able to conceive. Once you reach that level, then automatically you'll be a part of it. You'll not even be able to see. There's no question of you are already, but there are a lot of impurities which have to be cleared up.
Go step by step. Don't keep shifting the point, otherwise it won't be clear. It's not a objective vision. It's a subjective experience. It's not that we can't, we don't have the equipment to perceive it. It is that it is not out there to be perceived at all. How will you perceive?
Thank you.
But when we want to talk about it, okay, we have to say something, right? So we use some kind of symbol. It could be from Earth all the way up to space, whatever symbol. Nowadays, people like to say, oh, the universe is letting you, is granting you this or giving you that. It's the way of talking nowadays. Whatever, they're all just symbols.
Thank you, madam.
So who is better? So who is better? So then the Lord answers, he says, those ever steadfast devotees who fixing mind on me, worship me endowed with supreme Shraddha. When he's talking about me here, who is he referring to?
Brahman.
Form.
Referring to the form, because remember that is Arjuna's question. He said, who is better, one who worships you or one who worships the formless? So he says, the one who worships me. So in that sense, you have to take it now. That now when he's referring to Krishna. Means he's referring to a form. It doesn't mean Krishna. Any form you choose is the same thing. So those ever steadfast devotees who fixing mind on me, worship me endowed with supreme Shraddha, them do I consider best in you. So he answers and he says, those who worship the form. Now we studied why. This is the clarity that Vedanta is supposed to give us. That the question itself should tell you what the answer, what is the state of the person. He's saying, which is better, form or formless? The answer is form. You don't have to even look at the person. You don't have to know anything else. Why is that? Because suppose I ask you, which class shall I apply for? Shall I apply for first standard or shall I apply for graduation? Which class shall I apply for? What is your answer?
First.
Why first?
If you are passed out first, why you will ask?
Yes, you want to ask this question. So if you're asking the question, answer is form. It's that simple. You're asking this question, shall I do something higher or lower? Answer has to be lower because you won't ask that question. A PhD student will not ask, shall I enter first standard or shall I enter graduation? Shall I apply for first standard or college? You ask the question first standard. So this is how you immediately should understand why he's responding the way he's responding. Because otherwise you'll be so confused and you'll say, what is he saying? How can he possibly make the statement that form is better than formless? How can he possibly say that? That question has been asked, so that is what Arjuna requires. But please notice what all he has said. He could have simply said, no, form worship is better. Those I consider best at yoga who follow the form. He doesn't say that. And that's what's very important for us to understand. That if you claim to be worshipping the form, then a form of Krishna or Rama or whoever you follow, it could be Christ, it could be anybody, whoever you choose to follow. He says, those ever steadfast devotees. See, what is the important part of this? Ever steadfast devotee means consistent. 365 days a year, 24 hours a day. You are very clear what you're trying to achieve in this world. You're very, very clear what you're here for. You're very, very clear what you intend to do. A very different experience from those who, what should I say, who think this is a good thing. Oh, we should study Vedanta. It's a good thing. We should go to class. It's a good thing. Not a good thing. It's that thing which you cannot do without. Everything else you can do without. So when you've understood that, you understood that your purpose as a human being is to find that transcendental reality. The whole way we live life changes. That doesn't mean anything in particular changes. It's just that our whole attitude towards life changes. And when that attitude changes, we find everything about our life becoming very smooth. Because now you no longer have these harsh demands on people. And when you don't have harsh demands on people, your relationships work. You're not asking for anything from the world. So you very easily can concentrate on whatever you are doing. Every bit of life changes. But what is the price you pay? That kind of consistency. Those ever steadfast devotees who, fixing the mind on me, worship me. Worship me means pursue me with supreme Shraddha. Means they are not giving up until they get there. Them do I consider best at yoga. So I hope you realize that though his answer says me, look at the amount of characteristics he has put over here. What all has he put? He says, ever steadfast, fixing mind on me, worship me, pursue me with supreme Shraddha. Means I will not get up till
You are muted. You are muted. Janki ji, no sound.
Are you looking for a
Can you-
deeper
is it
understanding
there?
of
My
life?
screen had gone off. Okay, so let's do verses.
Janki ji, we lost you for 30 seconds or so.
Omkar, we'll go on to verses 3 and 4. Ekvaksharamanirdesham avyaktam parupasate sarvatra gamachintyam cha kutastamachalam dhruvam Sanniyam yendriya gramam sarvatra samabuddhayaha te prapnuvanti mameva sarvabhutahite rataha ye tvaksharamanirvesham avyaktam paryupasate sarvatra gamachintyam cha kutastham machalam dhruvam sanniyam yendriya gramam sarvatra samabuddhayaha te prapnuvanti mameva sarvabhutahite rataha. Ye aksharam, anirdesham, avyaktam, those who worship the unmanifest, the imperishable, the indefinable, the omnipresent, the achintyam, the unthinkable, the unchanging, the immovable, the eternal, those who worship the formless, in other words. Te prapnuvanti mameva. They also reach me. So what is he not gently introducing the concept, and he's saying, okay, those who are very, very good are those who worship the form, and those who worship the formless, they also reach me. Slipping it in somehow. Aksharam, the imperishable. We go through so many emotions in life, right? So much we are hurt by, we are happy by, we are disappointed by, we are cheered by. So many emotions we go, all the surface feelings go on in life. But regardless of what we are feeling, there is something that is imperishable. There is a fact. There is a way I am looking at that fact. The way that I look at the fact gives rise to so many emotions. A person speaks in a certain manner. That's a fact, he speaks like that. I look at it as he's a very rude person. Because I look at it like that, it gives rise in me, these emotions, whatever. He's so uncultured, he's so mean, he's so whatever emotions come about in my personality. But if I'm able to change that way and simply see the fact of the matter, then there is no emotion. This is just the way it is. What is the emotion for? And if you can completely change it, then you see only Brahman. You know that beyond all these superficial goings and comings and happenings and all that, the reality just continues. It is there. This reality, I will not know, it is indefinable. It is indefinable because you can only define things which have properties. But it doesn't have any properties, so how are you going to define it? And that's why any definition is very difficult to do. Because to be able to tell what something really is, what are its characteristics, is always a very difficult thing to do. This is unmanifest. Unmanifest means it is not something that one can perceive or feel or conceive. It is referred to in terms of what your senses can perceive, but it is not that. It is omnipresent. It's everywhere. Whatever is that reality, cannot be confined to only you or only me. Whatever is there, that ultimate real thing, whatever it is there, across the board, everywhere. Achintyam. Imagine he's telling you what it is, and then he's saying it is unthinkable. You can't think about it. Then you may say, if I can't think about it, then what did you just tell me? This is explained in the famous analogy of the Chandra Shakha Nyaya. Chandra Shakha Nyaya means Chandra moon, Shakha branch, Nyaya is an analogy. So someday, when you can't see the moon in the sky, it's a bright noontime, you can't see the moon, and your friend wants to point that moon out to you. It says, can you see that, the field over there? Yes, I can see it. Can you see that tree over there? Yes, I can see it. Go up the tree. Can you see two branches at the top? Yes, I can see it. Now follow this one particular branch. At the end of that branch, you'll see two leaves. Can you see those two leaves? Yes, I can see it. Now look between those two leaves. And you keep staring there. And then suddenly you can see the moon. Now this field and the tree and the branch and the leaves had nothing to do with the moon. But still they enabled you to see it. Similarly, all these definitions that he has given us of the reality have got nothing to do with the reality. They are merely indicative definitions. Indicative definitions means they can indicate it. They cannot tell you what it is. So he's making very sure you get that point. Otherwise, we will be, what is God? We're very clear. He's omnipresent. He's indefinable. He's imperishable. These are only indications, because the Lord is beyond our conception. All these you can conceive, right? None of them is correct. It is kutastham. Kutastham means unchanging. Achalam. Immovable. Dhruvam. Eternal. Why is it immovable? You all know, right? Why it's immovable? Why is it immovable?
It's all pervading.
Because everywhere, it is everywhere.
An object can move from a place where it is to a place where it is not. And hence, because the Lord is everywhere, he cannot move. He is eternal. Eternal means he existed before time. Time is born at the second experience. He was already there at the first. How do we say time is born at the second experience? At a point, there is no distance. The moment you bring up another point, then there is a distance. Similarly, if there's only one experience, there's no time. Like in deep sleep, only one experience, nothing, no time. But the moment another experience comes, that gap, that distance between two experiences is what is known as time. So he was there well before time. He will be there well after time. When the Big Bang took place, he was there. When the universe collapses on itself and ends, he will continue to be there. None of this is making any difference. Just as when the bubble is born in the ocean is there. Bubble stays for whatever time it does, the ocean is there. Then the bubble breaks, goes back into the ocean, and the ocean is still there. No difference has been made to the ocean. Now, do you remember in the previous verse, he said, you worship the form, but you have these characteristics. In this one, he goes, now, if you claim to be worshipping the formless, then what are the characteristics? Sanyamya. Sanyamya means having controlled. Indriya Grama, the group of senses. Sarvatra Samabuddhaya. If you claim to be worshipping that formless reality, then these are the characteristics that go with it. Number one, you are in complete control of the senses. That means you're capable of discipline. That means you are the master of your senses. It doesn't mean that you don't enjoy things. It means that you are able to moderate, regulate according to the need of the hour. Not अभी आम खाने लगे तो आम ही खाते रहते हैं. Not like that. But okay, it's a mango season. Mangoes are good for you. So maybe I decide one mango is good for me for a day, or one mango in 2 days, whatever I have decided. And I do that. No more, no less. So many of us in class will feel that, oh, I cannot relate to the form. I can only relate to the formless. Okay, so if you claim that, then this is what has to go with it. Complete discipline, number one. Sarvatra Samabuddhaya. Same Samabuddhaya. Same view, same, everybody you consider just the same. Regard everything equally. Some days you fail, some days you succeed, some people are nice to you, some people are bad to you, some people go out of their way to harm you, some people go out of their way to help you. Can you view it all exactly the same? Sarvatra Samabuddhaya. And third characteristic, Sarva Bhuta Hite Rataha. Rejoicing in the welfare of everyone. This is the acid test of spiritual growth. Can you revel in the welfare of everyone? Do you realize how happy such a person will be? You can revel. You know, somebody, a neighbor buys a Mercedes and you're very happy. For free, you got the happiness of a Mercedes. No, you don't have to put in that hard work, buy a Mercedes and then worry about it when it's on the streets. Can you imagine? Many people don't buy a Mercedes, not because they cannot afford it, but because it's not so expensive to buy it. You know, where the biggest expenses?
Petrol,
Maintenance.
petrol.
So if somebody hits your car, okay, just scrapes it a little bit, that's 1 lakh of rupees straight away gone. Because they won't repair it. They'll take that whole thing out and junk it and put another one. The maintenance is crazy. Otherwise, buying a mark, anyone can buy one. Okay, but we take it on the road and you know that this guy scrapes my car, 1 lakh of rupees gone, and you can't enjoy that Mercedes, right? You'll be looking around saying 1 lakh here, 1 lakh there. We're frightened. But when your neighbor buys a Mercedes, very good. For free, you get all that enjoyment. Every time we can enjoy other people's happiness, for free you're getting happiness. But if you start becoming jealous, you say, what a Mercedes? Why does he need a Mercedes? Are they what? Goes of yours whether he buys a Mercedes? His money bought a Mercedes. Why do I have a view on it at all? These people just like to show off. All of this is motivated by our incapacity to enjoy the joys of others. Why do I have an opinion? Somebody wants to do something with his life, whatever in the world he wants to do. Why do I have an opinion? He wants to buy a car, very good. He doesn't want to buy a car, very good. He wants to walk to work, very good. He wants to not go to work, very good. Mera na lena na dena. If you're happy, I'm happy. So the this capacity in us to be able to revel in the joys of others, to be more happy than they are that they got something. I remember, I was very surprised. Actually, I was in school and one of my friends, she wanted to join a painting competition. So she still is very artistic, and I'm not very artistic. And she made me go with her mainly because she needed somebody to go with her. She didn't want, and anyway, I've always been unemployed. So I decided, okay, I'll go with her. So just like that, we went. I didn't know what to do. I have never drawn or painted anything before. So I was thrown back on trying to do something over there. Now I'm there, I have to paint, right? I've entered this competition. And because I don't know how to draw or paint, I had to use my head and try and do something there. Now I don't know what to do. So I just sort of, I took black color paint and I scraped it all over the paper and I left little gaps and made it seem like that was starlight or something. It just left white in between that black thing. And now that I'd got a sky, I thought I should put an earth. So I, the very small corner at the end, I put a little globe. The reason I was doing all this is because I don't know how to draw or paint. But so I was just trying to get past that 2 hours over there. And the others had drawn all these intricate things. The topic was astronomical scenario. So it could do anything, as picture or anything astronomical. There has to be an astronomical theme. And they're drawn like people landing on the moon and this and that, all intricate things and beautiful things. And then finally the judges came and they saw our paintings and they made me come first. They gave me the first prize. For no, I was completely, I don't know what to think of this because I was just doing black, literally painting like that, leaving white, just doing like that and leaving some white in between. They said, oh my God, what creativity and all. Now, I remember that friend who had taken me, she's a good artist. She still is, she still does all that stuff. And she heard that me, who she had only taken as a companion sort of thing, got the first prize. Can you imagine how it must feel to her? It must feel terrible, right? I took this idiot along, she doesn't know anything, and now for some reason they're giving her the first prize. And when they told us, we were together, of course, when they told us, and she turned to me and she was so excited as if she had won that prize herself. She was jumping up and down, and I was a little embarrassed because I knew that, this is gadbad over here. It can't possibly be true. But I can't forget that experience. Can you imagine that your friend has won something that you would like to have? And you are as excited or more excited than had you won it yourself. Now, we could have this towards everybody at all times. Somebody else wins it, and we are so happy. Then we are capable of formless worship. So if you see what he has done in these verses, right? He said, form is better than formless. If you're worshipping the form, then you must pursue it with utmost shraddha and with consistency. Right? So these are things you have to do. If you're worshipping the formless, then see the grammar itself. Sanyamya. Sanyamya means it's a labhyanta. It is done. You have already learned how to control the senses. You are already regarding everything equally, and you can revel in the joy of others. So I hope you're able to see the difference in these two things. Those who worship the form are at the earlier stages of the journey. What have they got to do? They have to make their desire for self-realization strong. or God realization, whatever you. Those who are moving towards the form, they already have to be disciplined, already have to be detached. Detached means already okay with the happenings of the world and already being able to rejoice in the welfare of all. So which is higher, which is lower? Which is easier? To think of God or to do this other one? Which is easier?
Think of God.
What? Both of you spoke at the
Form
same.
worship is easier.
Form worship is easier. So that's what he's saying in the next verse.
Jankiji, what if they do the formless worship, but they don't have those qualities?
Then it's a fake. It won't count for anything. Because it is not, he's going to tell us. He's going to say all this. Wait, listen to him. You don't need to listen to abridged verse. Directly from him only. So verse 5 says, therefore, so you look at the characteristics he gave with the form. And what are the characteristics he's given with formless? So much more thinking has gone into it. So much more discipline, so much more balance is already there in the personality. And what is the acid test? That you have genuine affection for everything. You cannot find a reason to dislike somebody. When he says he enjoys the welfare of all, that means universal love. So you can't find a reason to dislike him. You just can't find it. You find that whenever you see somebody do something wrong, in your mind, you always justify his behavior. Just as when we do something wrong, we always justify our behavior, right? Suppose I do something wrong, I have a bad habit. Then I will say, my parents were like that, we were brought up like that, and therefore I'm like that. But if somebody else does something bad, then we will say, see, what a horrible person you are. But if you switch that, when other people make a mistake, justify for them. When I make a mistake, admit. Then switch it. Say, yes, I'm an idiot for doing this. But if other people do it, you always find reasons why they do it. He's not a bad guy, but he's just going through a problem, so he's behaving like this. There's a lot of stress at the moment. That's why he's behaving like this. And justifying other people's negative behavior. So this is for the formless. So now let us see what verse 5 says. Kleshodhikatarastesham avyaktasatchetasam avyakta hi gatir dukham dehavidbharavapyate kleshodhikatarastesham avyaktasatchetasam avyakta hi gatir dukham dehavadbhiravapyate. Klesha. Klesha means difficulty. Adhikataraha. It's a comparative word. Adhikataraha. More difficult. Greater difficulty. Tesham avyakta sakta chetasam. Whose minds are set on the unmanifest, it is more difficult. You can see that, right? What you had to do with form worship and what you have to do with the formless. So he says it's more difficult. This is a fact. Avyakta hi gatir dukkham. That the goal of the avyakta is dukkham, is hard. Dehavit bihi. For the dehavit. Now here is an important clue for us. He's saying this, that it is more difficult. It is more difficult to do formless worship than form worship for the dehavit. Dehavit means for the embodied. Means what? Somebody who's stuck in his own personality. So those who are stuck in their own personality, They can do nothing but give a personality to God. They can't do it otherwise. But for those who are not so stuck in their personality, their own personality doesn't mean so much to them. And hence, they do not need to give God a personality. So he says, so it's very interesting how he does this. He says it's very difficult, but for whom? For the Dehavid. So can you say it is difficult? No. For the person who's at that level, that's the easy thing for him or her. For the person who is stuck in his personality, it'll become very difficult. So once you reach Uparati is a sense of mental withdrawal from the world. You're really not interested in what the world has to give you, what the world has to take away from you. Genuinely not interested in that anymore. When you come to that stage, formless worship becomes easy. But when you're not yet at that stage, then form worship becomes easy. So we have to understand where we each one are and take up accordingly. Because it's not really important. All these things are not important. What is important is we take the next step forward. And he is going to draw that to our attention. So far, so good. Everyone is clear up to this point. Anyone has a question?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
It's still possible for the one who worships the form to eventually start getting those qualities of the one who worships the formless?
Yes, of course. That is growth.
So gradually you shift from form worship to formless worship.
That is why I see somebody like Mirabai, for instance. She thinks Krishna is everything. And then first she has that idol which she carries with her everywhere. She says, I'm married to this idol, and she carries it everywhere. Then slowly as she grows, when you ask her the question, first Krishna was the idol. Then where is Krishna? All the idols and all the temples. Then where is Krishna? Everywhere. So that the sense of expansion will always stay. If you do your portion correctly, the next portion will become available.
Thank you.
Jankiji, so the trajectory, the path is form worship to formless worship to enlightenment.
Okay. But you can't say that everybody has to start with form worship. Suppose you're Shankara, for instance. At 8, he's writing commentaries on the Upanishads. So you can't tell him, oh, you didn't start with form, you better start with form. We could have done that in a previous, earlier also. But yes, in terms of trajectory, that's right. Okay, so the next verse, we start with progressive ways to reach God. He gives beautiful analysis on what are the various steps. You can't do this, do this. You can't do this, do this. You can't do this, don't do this. Very, very charitable in terms of what sadhana is giving to us. So next topic is progressive ways to reach God. Vitu sarvani karmani Mai sanyasya matparaha ananyenaiva yogena mam dhyayanta upasate teshamaham samudharta mrityu samsara sagara bhavami nachirartvartha Mayaveshita chetasam Yetu sarvani karmani Mai sanyasta matparaha Ananyenaiva yogena Mam dhyayanta upasate Teshamaham samurdhata mrityu samsara sagarat bhavami nachirat partha maya veshita chetasam. Ye tu sarvani karmani mai sanyasya. Ye, those. Tu, but. Sarvani karmani mai sanyasya. But they who, all actions, renouncing in me, regarding me as supreme, by single-pointed yoga, those whose minds are set on me, I become ere long Upartha, Mrityu Samsara Sagarat, from the sagar of the Mrityu Samsara. Mrityu Samsara, this is the world of mortals. This is the place we come to where death is inevitable. So it's called Mrityu Samsara. Mrityu Samsara means everything in this samsara ends. And it's an ocean of that. So it's an ocean of death, basically. Sad way of describing our world, right? But he says, okay, it's a Mrityu Samsara. In the Bible also, isn't that something? We walk in the valley of death. Isn't that right? Is it something walk in the valley of death?
Yes.
Hmm?
Yes, it is mentioned.
Yeah. So same thing, because here we come into the world of death. And we don't seem to get we are in the world of death. We seem to think we're very, very glamorous over here and it's also wonderful. And oh, what new thing am I going to now get? I mean, of course, get any new thing you want, but please understand that it's not the imperishable you're getting. So then if it's not the imperishable you're getting, then whatever you're getting is going to perish. How to understand the facts of life, right? So we call this Mrityu Samsara. So he says from Mrityu Samsara. Samsara means from. So from Mrityu Samsara Sagara, from the ocean of death-bound existence, I will be Samudharta. I will be the deliverer. Bhavami na chirat. Partha. Na chirat means na chirat means not long. It doesn't tell you how long. It says not long. Mai aveshita chetasam. For those whose minds are set in me. So if you've been following the line of thought so far, what has happened? Arjuna says form or form. Krishna says form. But formless will also take you there. Formless, however, is more difficult. Simple enough. Now he says but. But now for what but? And he's not saying anything, doesn't sound like he's saying anything contradictory to what he has said before. Because he's saying, but those who worship me, renouncing all actions in me, regarding me as supreme, meditating on me with single-pointed yoga, I will deliver them from samsara. So it's an interesting concept to see why would he use the word but over here. What's the but doing? He's not contradicting anything he said before. He's merely saying, okay, you do X, Y, and Z. That's what this verse is saying. It's giving us the sadhana. So why but? Remember what he said. The question was form or form. He said form because formless is more difficult. But neither of them really matter. It doesn't matter whether you choose the form or you choose the formless. What is important is what you're doing with that choice. So if you choose form, you follow the sadhana given for form. If you choose formless, you follow the sadhana given for formless. But it is not important whether you choose the form or formless. What is important? That he's told us in this verse. So what are the important things here? Number one, regarding me as supreme. It is not important whether you regard me as with form or you regard me as formless. What is important is that you regard me as supreme. Supreme in the sense it's the only thing in this world worth working for. We are not, it is the same thing in the world. Why do we not achieve anything? Some people are very highly successful and some people are not very highly successful, and everybody has this big problem in life. Why is it that some people are successful and some people are not successful? And they have many, many reasons for that. And no doubt those reasons are true, but most fundamentally, people are successful or not successful based, will you get what you want or not get what you want, is based most fundamentally on whether you know what you want. If you don't understand it, if you don't know what you want, there's no way you're going to get it. We don't consider anything in our life as supreme other than the excitement of the moment. So now I feel like doing this, I will do this. Now I feel like doing that, I will do that. I do not understand. In my life, I must be clear what is supreme. What in my life is getting the topmost priority? What is that thing? What, according to me, is the single most important thing for me to do while I'm here? And if that is the single most important thing for me to do, then what am I doing about it? So the primary thing, but represents that neither form is important nor formless is important. What is important is that you want to reach it. That is the critical part. Now, those who want to reach there can't say, I want to reach there. You have to do the sadhana. You have to do what it takes. What does it take? Renouncing all actions in me. Means what? Every single action I do is dedicated to that. I do it because according to me, it takes me there. Otherwise, I won't do this action. And then, of course, we'll do the sadhana. But the three important points are, first and foremost, it doesn't matter whether you worship form or formless. What is important is that whatever you are worshipping, you believe it to be the Supreme. Because you must know what you want. Otherwise, you won't get it. Number two, having known what you want, you have to do the work. What is the work he's going to tell you? And number three, he says, I will deliver you. I will deliver you from this means don't take the burden of doership on yourself. Our job is to do our job. Full stop. Determine what is the action that has to be taken and do it. Full stop. That's it. Giving fruit is the Lord's job, not my job. I will do my job and he can do his job. I need not worry that he has not noticed what I have done. Don't worry, he will handle his affairs. You do yours. Say, no, I've done so much, but I've still not got the result. Then check whether you did the right thing. Suppose you said, oh, I wanted mango trees, that I have sown so many seeds, but I still don't have any mangoes. Hare Baba, but the seeds which you sowed were all coconut seeds. How will you get a mango tree out of that? So first check. Did you sow the right seeds? No. Number two, having sown the seeds, have you given them enough time to come up? You guys have sowed the seed yesterday and today I don't have a mango. Take time. Take it. So don't take the doership on yourself. So what is important is not whether you worship the form or not the form. What is important is A, whichever one you're worshipping, do you think it's the Supreme? 2, are you doing what it takes? And number 3, You're willing to leave the fruit to him. In other words, there is no egoistic burden of my having to do something. You don't have to do anything. Your only job in this world is to realize the self. You have no other job over here. And every single action that you take is only meant for that purpose. And when you can focus your life in the right manner, you will get the fruit. You don't have to worry about it. Or if you want some other goal, whatever goal you have set for yourself, if you want success in that, you have to follow the same 3 things. Number 1, know what you want. Number 2, work in that direction. Number 3, don't take the egoistical burden. So whether you do it spiritually or you do it materially, the same formula applies. You want success spiritually, you apply it to a spiritual goal. You want success materially, you apply it to a material goal. That's it. It's that simple. Okay, so that's it then for today. We will meet next time. Does anybody have any announcements?